At the beginning of quarantine, my friend Bella, 30F, proposed open marriage to her husband Mike, 28M. The timing was off, obviously, but she had thought about it a lot and she said it was the only way for her relationship with Mike to survive because she loved him dearly but felt unfulfilled. Mike hesitantly agreed because he didn't want to lose her. When I asked him about it, he seemed very much not thrilled about the whole thing. The backstory here is that Bella and Mike have known each other since middle school but only started dating in college, at which point Bella had a lot more experience in relationships. Mike has told me he's always felt like he was one step behind her in most things, but that their marriage really worked and he was very happy with her. Well, during quarantine, the two of them became even closer than they had ever been before, and I think Mike didn't expect Bella to actually go through with the open relationship idea she had proposed. But around 3 months ago, she brought it back up and then settled on some rules together. Cut forward to an hour ago, it's way past midnight here when Bella calls me crying, saying Mike cheated on her. I'm all question marks at that point because Mike would never. She tells me she tried calling Mike all day, but he said he had a date and hasn't come home yet. I ask her, but wasn't that sort of okay between you two? She sobbingly tells me that yes, that was sort of the deal, but that she hadn't been able to go on a single date with a guy yet because she was so busy with work being back on now, and that Mike just went ahead with his date as if she meant nothing, that he hadn't disclosed any details to her, which as far as I know was part of their deal, that they didn't want to know any details, and that she felt like he was ridiculing her. I didn't really know what to say and just told her, well, honey, I think you just reaped what you sowed, honestly. She's furious with me and screamed at me for being an awful friend to her, that I should understand how she feels. I kept quiet but honestly, I think she's just upset that her husband is doing what she proposed in the first place. I haven't talked to Mike yet, but am I the idiot? Edit. I spoke with Mike just now. He said he had an awesome night but came home to Bella screaming at him and is feeling incredibly guilty and confused now, understandably. He'll come by afterward to talk. OP, yeah, not the idiot. People always seem to be down for open relationships until they remember their partner can have an open relationship too. And it often seems that the partner who originally proposed the idea ends up striking out while the hesitant partner hits the home run. I'm not sure that's necessarily true, but I do find that often when the hesitate one does succeed more than the suggester gets bent out of shape far worse than is reasonable. Not the idiot. Not the idiot. I'll bet money that what her friend was really thinking is that she'd convince her husband to try an open relationship, but he loved her too much to ever sleep with anyone else. She thought it would be a win-win for her husband would be at home loving her, and she'd be out getting her back blown out, and it would all be legit because the husband agreed to an open marriage. Not the idiot. She didn't expect him to actually sleep with other people. She just wanted to sleep with others without it being considered cheating. She's really ridiculous and I'm on Mike's side for this one. She wanted an open relationship, so that's what she got, lol. That's what most not all people want in an open relationship. The opportunity to sleep around with a fallback. Be careful what you ask for. You might well get it. Your friend felt unfulfilled and wanted someone to meet her needs. She never considered that in an open marriage, both spouses are free to go elsewhere. She said he cheated, but he did no such thing. It isn't cheating in an open marriage. Your friend's reality check just bounced. Not the idiot. My boyfriend, 26M, and I, 24F, have been together for 3 years. We live in Nick and he makes over $200K per year, while I'm studying for my master's in social work and have no income. Right now I'm doing an unpaid year-long internship 3 days a week, as well as classes 2 days a week. It's rare to get a paid internship in social work, plus internships are mandatory. I spend 12 hours every day either working, studying, commuting, or in class. My only free days are on weekends, so I have no time for a paid job. My mom helps me financially by paying for my Metro card and healthcare expenses, but for everything else, I rely on loans. Before I moved in with my boyfriend there was a roach infestation in my apartment, so I'd stay over at his place a lot. My lease was ending soon, so he asked me if I wanted to live with him. At first, I joked with him that his living standards would go down since I can't afford a nice place, but he insisted on paying the rent until I finish grad school, then we would split the rent based on income. I originally wanted to live in a cheaper place in Queens or Brooklyn, but my boyfriend likes his current place and insisted I move in since he would be the one paying the rent. so I moved into his $5K month luxury condo in the city this August. All of a sudden my boyfriend recently started asking me to pay half the rent, $2.5K month. I was confused because he was the one who wanted to pay the rent in full. Apparently, he was talking to his friends and they all think it was weird that I don't pay rent and that I was a gold digger. I let my boyfriend know that I can't afford $2.5K month and he said I was leeching off of him, so I told him that he should find someone within his social class so he doesn't have to worry about a gold digger like me leeching off of him. I stayed at my friend's place for a few days while figuring out what to do. I called my mom about my situation and she is willing to help me out, but the maximum she can afford for rent is $800. I found some places in Queens within the price range, less than 15 min away from the city and a bus ride away from my school, so I went to check them out a couple of days ago. I've been texting the landlord and my new roommates and I already signed the lease. I told my boyfriend about my new place and he got upset and asked me to stay. He said that he was willing to accept $800 month instead of $2.5K month if that's all I can afford, but I told him I didn't want him changing his mind again and demanding more money from me in the future. He lived in this condo alone for several years, so it's not like he can't afford to live there without my help. I wouldn't mind splitting the rent with him, but I would have to live in a more affordable place outside of Manhattan like I originally wanted. Apparently some of our mutual friends think I'm being unreasonable for moving out instead of talking to him and staying by paying the amount I can afford in rent and that I shouldn't have let him pay my portion of the rent. Not the idiot. It is refreshing to see someone just up and say, "Nope, that ain't gonna work," and then promptly exit the crappy situation and take care of things. The audacity to suddenly demand a cool $2.5K after you had an agreement, knowing you had previously suggested moving somewhere affordable, and he insisted because his friends hurt his ego while grossly insulting you, makes him seem weak-willed, thin-skinned, self-centered, kinda manipulative, and a terrible negotiator. Because now he's sat home alone with his sad face on that his GF left. Plus he's got no chance of getting a bit of rent for the place he probably can't afford and no chance of lording it over you anymore, which it seems like he might have been inclined to do. Talk about a backfiring plan. Not the idiot. Do they think you're being unreasonable? That's rich. He literally convinced you to move into his apartment, turning down your offers to find a cheaper place so you could contribute. The fact that his friends see you as a gold digger and don't appear to know the full story, the fact that you offered to pay and to find a cheaper place and he insisted otherwise, is also a red flag to me and makes me question how he talks about you to his friends. Definitely not the idiot, and I would question why you would want to date someone who is so easily influenced by his friends' uninformed opinions of you. Not the idiot. This should be a time for you to reevaluate whether you even want to be with this dude. He's easily manipulated by his friends and goes back on his word pretty quickly. You made the right call. He tried the old bait and switch. This is the first flower in a red flag bouquet. Enjoy your new apartment and the peace of mind that comes with it. Not the idiot. Update. Yes, I did dump him. I blocked him and his idiot friends on everything. My friends also blocked him since he tried to contact me through them. I'm going to enjoy being single and never relying on a man financially ever again. I'm going to make a few clarifications since a lot of you are confused and clearly aren't familiar with Nick. Yes, it is possible to find a room for $800 in Queens when you have several roommates. But my room is small as crap, has no AC, which obviously isn't an issue now but will be in the summer, and is above a restaurant, which means I'll probably have rodent roomies. My current roommate told me that they did have a rat problem in the past, but it's supposedly fixed. However, knowing these mutant city rats, I know they'll come back, but this is the best I can do for now. I'm not some new bright-eyed transplant who thinks Nick is only the trendy and rich parts of Manhattan, so I know where to look. In general, Nick landlords have a 40x rent rule. Landlords that accept guarantors follow the 80x rule, but some landlords are more lenient when it comes to students. My landlord's son is also an alumnus of the school I'm currently attending and is from the same cultural ethnic background as me, which probably gave me some leverage, along with the fact that my mom meets the 80x requirement. It also took me a week to find my current place. I just started my 2-year MSW program this September. I finished undergrad 2.5 years ago and worked full-time before starting my master's degree. So yes, I did have a job and paid my own rent, which was $1,025 a month for a roach-infested apartment in Queens that I shared with a roommate. I obviously don't have time to work now due to my schedule. My place was not rent stabilized. I'm confused as to how some of you came to this conclusion. It was cheap because it was a crappy place and no one wants to live there. Yes, my ex does make that much money. It's Nick, he's been in the workforce for 5 years, and people here make more money than they would in whatever town you're from, especially in his field. It was initially shocking to me that someone with just a bachelor's could earn that much while contributing absolutely nothing to society, but that's life.